Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about how do you know you're manifesting? Because you're going to get a lot of confusing shit out here in this external world that make you think manifesting is one thing, and then really it's just an intellectual being using other lower beings and using external places, people or things in order to entice you, for you to give that your energy, and then you just help manifest for that company, or help manifest for that orb, that fear of reality, that portal, and whatever intellectual being rule that whole realm of reality. That's you just making them bigger. You're making them be able to cover more antennas and be able to spread out and get larger. That's why externally you have some businesses that's more popular than other businesses, because they develop a bigger energy orb. And when I tell you this, you're going to understand how they are able to do this, and how you're able to do this in your own life, but how you get so shifted off gear and get unaligned and energy focused on so many other things, to the point that you end up having no time giving your own energy to your own spiritual nature. Now, when I talk about manifesting, so when we talk about manifesting, right, you know, on my page, we ain't about to just sit here and talk about manifesting, because 9 times out of 10, when you go on the main pre-consumption basis of these people videos, when they talk about manifesting, ultimately revolves around something you need to manifest externally. So just for them even talking about manifesting on that level already doesn't put them in the highest frequency of the idea of manifesting. So their level of consciousness, or their level of talking about manifesting, is only going to go to the frequency it's at. And it doesn't matter who has the highest from how you perceive it. I'm letting you know it's not the highest frequency, because how you know it's not the highest frequency, if they're telling you, if ultimately the goal is for you to better manifest something externally in your life. So that's not the highest frequency. See, on my page, we talking about where things actually come from. So when you actually understand the actual concept of manifesting itself first, then you're able to apply that instructions and that science to how we actually do it every day, because people are doing it every day. And when you got external people, places, or things giving you examples of it, and it's not the actual, and you're going in realms of reality using these tools and programs, you're just helping out that person who told you how to do it. When actually, my page, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm telling you where it came from. So now that you have the actual instructions, you could take that manuscript, you could take that blueprint, and utilize it the best way you know how, the best way your spirit understands it, the best way you know thyself. See, that's the understanding of it. Like when you go by the Illuminati, the Enlightened Ones, and which is basically what it is, and the Galactic Federation of Light, those are constructed of the beings who created this realm of reality on Earth, right? And then we see representations of the land of the law that rules it physically. You see what I'm saying? So when you say you're praying to God, 9 times out of 10 you're praying to the government, the Lord, because your lower dense frequency vibration hertz, that is your God, and without you knowing it. Like if you into a religion, you might tie it towards other things, but ultimately it's the government. And once you get higher frequency from that, you realize that you're not praying to the government. You're praying to the ones that's over the government. You're praying to that God, aka gods. But those gods are the same spirits that's coming through the judge and the government and the laws and the politics. So ultimately, you're just praying to their hierarchy. And then people, for some reason, mankind don't have a concept of a hierarchy, so they tie a all God to these gods. And how you know you're not praying to the all God, how you know you're praying to the gods that created this realm of reality, which mankind got confused, because the beings who run this realm of reality made mankind look at them as the gods. So their frequency level is the highest that mankind can even look at as God. See, I'm above them. So I'm Archangel Uriel. So it's like literally I'm a god to them. But the way y'all concepts look on God, y'all would think angels is lower than who y'all actually calling God. But I'm trying to give y'all an example of who y'all actually calling God. Now these intellectual beings right here, they created what they appear as heaven to them from an inner world, how they appear to be. Then they created externally. Now anytime somebody does that, you're not able to fully experience it fully. For an example, if you're a person, you created a business, right? You're not going to be able to experience that business the same way the workers does, the same way the people who upheld that business, because you just had the idea. So that's like you the manager or the boss. Then when people see you doing little stuff in the job, like a person who work at the desk or the janitor, when people see you doing one of those things, they're going to look at you funny. They're going to be like, why the boss or why the manager? Now the manager might come into the consideration to feel like, okay, I may need the help at times, but that's not ultimately the manager job though. Ultimately the boss or the manager job is to keep organized the overall idea of this organization. Then the people who withhold the idea of the organization is the people who are actually experiencing the days and the woes. You're the person who got that job. You're the person who got to get up every day and come to that job and work. You're the person experiencing one portal or realm of reality of the whole spectrum idea. You may just work in one section. Another person may work in another section. But all together, all these sections with all these people working in there keep the organization going on the overall idea. And the overall idea is the person who created that business. So you see what I'm saying? It works like that in a less dense, less realm of reality. So when you talk about these guys, it's doing the same thing. So a lot of times they utilize other people to experience. So a lot of times for the manager or the person who created this business, they experience it through you. So when they come visit one of the stores or one of the businesses that they created in one of the cities, when they come visit it to see how it run, they're experiencing it through you now, through the workers that work there and how they uplifting it and do things of that nature. So whether it's a negative manager or a good manager, you're going to see what kind of ideas or what kind of work you're doing. Now it's that same way here. So since you also have these attributes, you're also manifesting also, but you're manifesting for other sakes, because since there's already pre-manifested things here due by higher beings and how they seen things, then you're here to experience this. So for an example, how you know you're not praying to the all God, how you know you're praying to the God's lore, because when a being takes something inside them, how they see something, and create it externally, then you have other beings who are able to experience it. Anytime you have a being, ooh, my stomach. Oh man, that wasn't a burp, that was a growl. That's how usually my stomach growl and it surfaces on it. But next week, hopefully that'll be all over. Now, how you know you're not praying to the God and you praying to the gods that rule this realm of reality, because 9 times out of 10 what you're praying for is things that consume of this realm of reality, and the things it consume is things you can understand when it gets filtered through the 5 senses of this vehicle you in. And if you understand that this vehicle was engineered by all the beings you was created by, then the senses and things you're going to be aware of is only concepts of this inner being with this inner being created externally. So now if this inner, like for an example, say I'm one of these beings, right, that created Earth, one of these gods, right, and I looked at something as a form of a heaven inside of me, or a form of a hell, or a form of something I wanted to see inside of me expressed on the external, right? Now when we less dense, it's going to play out in different ways. In this frequency vibrational hertz, it's going to play out as it's magic or something like that. In this vibration, it's normal. So whatever I choose to express, like what kind of energy, vitality, love, expression, it gets really expressed, right, as a realm of reality, as we can physically experience in a less dense, right? Now say I created this realm and then I want to create a physical representation of this. So we know from my idea, frequency, spirit of it, I had the idea of it. Then I wanted to experience it. So I put time, seconds, emotions, and feelings and movement in it. Now it's an actual orb. The idea actually is a fluidly orb now. So it's something that can be shaped and geometrically shaped. But right now it's not. It can be seen right through. It's fluidity. The idea is fluidity. So I can go right through it. Right. I can experience it, create realms of realities, illusions, and actually know what is felt because it's out of my soul. Now, oh man, excuse me. Now, I'll be getting exhausted of sitting down because of my issues. Okay, look, now, the more and more time and experience and weight I put in it can become density in the realm of reality. It can become physical. Now, it's living though, it's life, so life can be brought up in it. And depending on what kind of engineered physical representations that we created, orchestrated, which in this case it was Earth, say I'm one of these beings, boom, I put it here. Now the vessels I put here, any kind of spiritual beings could come utilize this vessel and actually experience within this realm of reality me and this group of beings created, right? Now, for a person to be in this realm of reality actually experiencing it now, we already done created the highs and lows of it. Remember, we created the night and day, which you can see and what you can't see. Before it was orchestrated into days that deal with time and length, it was orchestrated in what you can see and what you can't see. So what happens here is, in this realm of reality, we already got highs and lows, what you can and what you can't see. In this realm of reality, it's less dense. That's how it's going to appear to be. So it's what you can consciously be aware of, and what you should, and what you're not consciously aware of. Which is part of that is going to be us. You're not going to be consciously aware of us because this came from inner to out, and you are inside of something that's outer to us. You see what I'm saying? But it came from within us and outer, and now you're within something that's outer than us. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? So now, while you experiencing in this, the things within it, you're experiencing the highs and lows now of this concept. So a lot of times you want to experience prosperity and the utmost happiness, but the utmost happiness and prosperity is whatever frequencies we had that we put in there. You see what I'm saying? And then whatever lows you're going to experience is whatever frequencies we didn't want you to see. Now, when we put you here, you don't necessarily have to experience the lows, as long as you go accordingly to what we experience, what you can see. AKA, you can eat from these fruits of labors. Just don't have these emotional feelings. Don't experience these. Don't eat from those fruits of labors over there. You see what I'm saying? AKA, if you're going to work this job, work accordingly. Work what the job is applied for you to do. If I'm the manager of this job, and you're going to get paid. As soon as you go against the grain, come in, work late, don't come at days, and don't work accordingly, and do your job all messed up, you're going to get fired. You're going to witness it. You're going to witness the lows of that realm of reality. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to correlate how things was less dense to how things is dense now, and how it play out in the same way, and just in more physical reality, with more experiences. Now in this time. Now say you're experiencing this shit now. So the highest frequency of prosperity or happiness, you're going to pray for these things, right? So in this case, if I'm a being that's over this realm of reality, I'm going to make you feel like, well, in order for you to get these things that you can consciously see, you have to make sure you do things accordingly. And if you don't want to experience the walls, make sure you never go in those areas of life. Which, if this is more dense time, this is emotions and feelings and how the world you live in, not the world you're a part of on the external. That's what they really meant in less dense times. So what happens here is when you're going about these things, in this realm of reality, you only have senses of what's high or low. You don't have the overall conception. You're just within a conception of a group of beings. So if what you're calling God, that's just your highest frequency of you can appear to be. Now, you're going to have beings here that start to utilize these certain vessels to make you be enlightened about other realms of realities and higher perceptions. And it's up to you whether you want to disregard it or absorb the information. But there's going to be certain beings here that actually do that for you. And depending on how deep into a realm of reality or a program or portal on this realm that you are, is going to be how hard it is for you to climb out of it, or how hard for you to absorb new information. Or because it's going to be things like the more density you into something, the more you cling on to it, and the more it's going to be hard for you to detach from it. Because you're clinging on to something that you don't see life without. And a lot of times these realms and realities and portals ran by these intellectual beings be so powerful and then drain so much of your energy that you don't even know how to process your natural energy without giving some of it to that for a charge. You see what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of times you have people attached to Earth here and don't even know why. Because a lot of times they're praying and absorbed into a God that's really just a God of this realm of reality. And a lot of times your spirit may not even be on the same agreeing level as these guys in this realm of reality. So you live all fucked up and have all these fucked up experiences Because your spirit is putting you in realms of realities and trying to show you other shit that you just know ain't right. And you see shit that other people that like this realm of reality don't see. And other people who attach to this realm of reality can't see. So how you know you're actually manifesting? Now look, go back to when you was a kid, right? When you was a kid, you were scared of certain things, right? Now, we know inside, for something to be here, it came from internally first. And for something to leave, it had to leave internally first. It had to leave in that world first. So as a kid, your spirit brings a lot of ideas from where you came from in a previous life. And then when you start to experience these ideas, when you get absorbed in this realm of reality, when your fluid, it's almost like, say your idea is an idea, right? And then it starts to experience, it becomes water or fluid, right? Now, realms of realities is like buckets of water. Many different buckets of water, right? And then when you came into this earth realm of reality, it's like you put your cup, your idea, filled up with your soul, your water. It's like you choose to pour it in this bucket. Now, in this bucket of water has this realm of reality, and what it constructs under. And in this case, let's say this bucket was the earth realm of reality, and this solar system realm of reality, and things of that nature. So what happens here is your spirit, the idea of you, that cup, and what was in the cup is your soul, start to absorb itself into all the experience in the fluid that it just went into, the bucket that it just went into. So how it experienced it is the best way how this water. So say it's some water that has some, your cup of water had blue dye in it, and this was some clear water. So when you went into that realm of reality, that's your structure in that realm of reality. So how that water relates to your water, wherever your water came from, is how the realm of reality going to be constructed of how you relate to the world and how the world relate to you, right? So when you get into this realm, aka Earth now, the things you experience, how you experience the ideas of which you experience it is going to be attached to your spirit, your space. The ideas that you have of it is going to have a sense of where you from. So if it's things that you don't agree with, that means whatever portal, realm of reality, person, place, or thing you're dealing with is from a nature where your spirit is not from. That it doesn't contain the same ideas, the same spirit, the same outlook, the same way of seeing things. That's not your spirit resonation, right? Now, your soul, then when it comes to your soul of things you experiencing, right? When your experiences don't match the experiences, and then you have to apply yourself to experience the best way you can, then that's just your soul. Your soul is just the experience of your idea, the fluid, the motion, the movement of your idea, enable for your idea to be moved into realm of realities of fluid. So when your fluid attach other fluids, your soul is going into realms of reality and is going to perceive the illusions of that realm of reality, aka the fluid. So in this case, it's like Earth. So now you're experiencing these experiences within an experience now with your soul. So now your soul is just experiencing that, right? And in order for your soul to know what it's experiencing, it's the medium between the spirit and the body. So your soul had to be in a body in order to experience this realm of reality with fluid and shit like that. To breathe in and breathe out and to be fully consumed and absorbed in this realm, right? So the things of this realm is what the soul going to experience. But how the soul sees it is from where it came from, where the spirit of it came from. You see what I'm saying? So it's all one and the same. It's three and the same, just in different realms of realities, in less dense, high dense. Now, the soul is the medium dense. The spirit is the highest frequency. The body is actually in the density. It is the solid, the material in it. You see what I'm saying? So when you're going about these things and experiencing, your soul wants to experience the highs and lows of the waters is in, of the fluid is in, of the realm of reality is in. But the ideas is going to have of how to do that is from where your spirit, your soul came from. The ideas that you have. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, you're around somebody who come from this realm when they're totally absorbed into everything of this realm. I mean, it's okay to be absorbed in some of these things because you wanted to experience this realm of reality to a certain degree. But when a person is fully absorbed, they don't want to hear nothing else. No spirit, no emotions, no ideas. They just, no, that don't make sense. Let's do this. When they totally absorbed here, you know that they're from here. And 9 times out of 10, they may be used by a vessel of a spiritual being that is from here. that created here. And a lot of times out of 10, these be the people who can get success real fast, get money real fast, get things in their favor real fast. And then when you talk to them, it's like they don't have no soul, they don't have no spirit, they don't have no connection. But you looking at them like, how they get all this, how they get all that? 9 times out of 10, it be either they be used by a vessel of the gods that rule this realm of reality, or a lot of times they just go towards the actual procedure, and their spirit is from here. You have a lot of souls that have been trapped in 3D and trapped here, and now they're just coming back into a body, and they don't know anything outside. All they know is just this realm of reality, this fluid. You see what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind. Now, also, how you know you're manifesting when you were as a kid, things that you were scared of, right? 9 times out of 10, it came from your inner world. And when you see a representation, when you see something external, a person, place, or thing external, and it makes you afraid when you was a kid, that person, place, or thing represented an emotional place in this world. It represented a location in the yin realm that you were at, that you didn't resonate with in a previous life. So it's important to keep in tune your imagination. And keeping in tune your imagination is staying attached to things that you were attached to as a kid. You see what I'm saying? Because that's when you are a kid, you're not into any realms and programs or realms or realities of this fluid realm you're in, of the illusion of the gods and the realm of reality you're in. You're fresh and new here. You don't start to calcify your third eye and your chakras until you start to get into these realms of realities and portals. And that's due to people, places, and things. How you was raised, who you was raised by, the situations, and the life circumstances. That's when you start to get into realms, and those things are predicated on by the intellectual beings that rule the circumstance. So if you're not raised by enlightened beings, or you're just in certain circumstances, then these are what you're going to experience, and this is what's going to calcify. And to know if you came into this world as a spiritual person, then a lot of these things can affect your chakras and third eye. A lot of these things and coming up in bad situations in your life and circumstances, a lot of these things won't affect your spiritual nature. That's how you know you came into this world from a strong spiritual nature. You have a high frequency, but a low frequency, a lot of times, that's when you get overwhelmed. You don't understand. You're always worried. A lot of things just overwhelm you. That's external to you on this plane. That means you came from a weak spiritual system. You are a weak person in a past life, and you're here to learn all these things that's overwhelming you, so you can get stronger. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you come here and everything that you were scared of, now it plays as a representation or as a dark place where you was at. Wherever realm of reality you came from, if it wasn't this one, the highs and lows, the lows of that realm of reality. So when you came here, representations may play out externally here. So a lot of times that lets you know that everything here ain't from here. How this was created in the first place wasn't created from here. You see what I'm saying? So everything that is here wasn't created from here. So when you see things that shows when you are a kid, you have, and it's important for you to remember these things. When you are a kid, and you can remember the things that frightened you when you was a kid. Remember, as a kid, you're not into no realms of realities and programs yet. You're free of receiving all illusions and realms of realities in the most clearest, buoyant way as possible. So not only don't even understand it from your vessel, but you're also coming from a place of where you was just this, less this in a period. So when things, external thing, person, place, or thing play out, and it makes you become afraid as a kid, it's important to remember this, because these things played out as forms of representations of where you were, and it was low. You know what I'm saying? And if you was a kid and you just was stuck here as a person, and you was in hell here, and you just now getting back in a vessel, a lot of these things that you're scared of is going to be things, real reality things, physical things. You might not even be scared of certain things like the average kid is scared of, like scared of the dark, or you might not be scared of your parents and what they tell you to do, because you already experienced that, because you already was in hell. You probably attached your inside and your emotions to so many external things and was in hell so long that when you got back in the body, when you experienced it physically, you're not scared of any of that shit no more, because you just basically in it. But the shit you is scared of is real physical shit. Not having stability, not being able to not being able to be grounded, not being able to have what you had before of the reason why you took your life in the first place, or the reason why you ended up being in hell or in ghosts in the first place. These are things you're scared of. You see what I'm saying? So you probably not even scared to die, but you scared to not have. So you'll probably die. You'll probably kill yourself or have someone kill you again when you don't be stabilized in a way that you seen yourself before you were stuck here before you killed yourself or transformed when you was in a physical body before. You see what I'm saying? So when that's the smallest form of manifesting, because what happens here when you're experiencing this illusion as a kid, when you're experiencing this illusion, you're just clear as voice as possible. So all your emotions and feelings is just fresh in this area externally, but it's still in the place where it was internally. You're still in these locations. You don't even emotionally know how to conduct or express yourself amongst adults or other people yet in this realm of reality, because you're still fresh from the other realm of reality, and you're just experiencing this realm of reality. So you're new to everything. So once you start to experience things like fear, love, and things like that, the first contact when you were a kid, the first love that you felt, the first hate that you felt, the person, place, or thing that represents these things keep hold of those, because they are representations of the previous life and the highs and lows that you experienced. For an example, okay, look, my spirit as a kid, right? I was extremely scared of the dark, but I was extremely into things like I grew up off the movie Constantine. I grew up off Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, and Angel, and Spike in them. I grew up off like shit like the Ghostbusters. I grew up off shit like the detective spiritual shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom used to always watch Guardian Angels. So, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of grew up off that. And Touched by an Angel. You know what I'm saying? Sitcoms like that. And then other shit like anything mystic and fantasy, but mystic and fantasy and dark. Like, I always hated the light mystic and fantasy, like Disney movies and cartoons that doesn't have, like, I hated them friendly type shit. I always wanted the villain to win. You know what I'm saying? I always like cartoons and fantasy and dark shit like that, and detective and figuring out shit like that, like Constantine, part of the movie, a blend between Constantine and the Matrix, be my Pilot Man movie. Constantine, the Matrix, and Star Wars. And I hated Star Wars, but this the aspect of space itself. Like, we would take deep, dark, detective type attributes about spiritual things, right? And we would throw that into a space realm of reality where people can travel galaxies and worlds and stuff like that. That will be the Pilot Man movie right there. You see what I'm saying? So me coming up as a kid, knowing I'm into these type of things of that nature, I hold on to that. And me being who I am, I understand why I hold on to these things. These is where my spiritual natures came from. So now that I'm an adult, and I'm an Archangel Uriel and things of that nature, that's basically what my spiritual path is doing. I'm being the detective of the spiritual things amongst this earth. You know what I'm saying? And help and I'm investigating, and we cracking cases and codes of the realms of realities and the programs that's ran by these spiritual intellectual beings that we're doing on earth. So this 9 times out of 10, this was my spiritual path, and as a kid, I knew that by the external places, people, and things that was represented, that attracted me in my life for me to be into it as a kid without being in no realms of realities yet and having clairvoyance. So when I start to get into these things and start calcifying, start getting jobs and shit, start dealing with certain people, places, and things and shit like that, and then the higher consciousness you are, the better you know how to incline yourself. The more and more I know how to take what I was as a kid, apply to what it is now, and know how to decipher it through this vessel better, know how to decipher it through the experience better, and then it let me on my path to let me know all along, this is what I'm here to do. So everybody ain't on the same spiritual path. It could be anything that attracted you as a kid or anything. Never lose that imagination, because those things is going to tie you to what your spiritual path is. For an example, say you have a kid, your kid always dancing. right? But say the kid that you had was born in circumstances, fucked up circumstances. So you may live in an apartment, you may live in around a bunch of family that don't care about that. So off the bat, you dancing around, you got people in your family or in the household saying, stop that motherfucking dancing. The people downstairs claim you too loud. So already the circumstances in your life, you're already calcifying the kid from the natural spirit of dancing. Boom. Then the kid can't be around a lot of music to even learn technical dance schemes because music can't be played because of the circumstance. You live in an apartment. Then it's not getting the courage to dance anywhere else because it's around a bunch of family.